Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to Mind, Body, and Heart Tarot Therapy. I'm here to do the reading for the month of October for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. So, this is a general reading. If it resonates, it resonates, and if it doesn't, it just doesn't. I'm going to shuffle your cards now. Don't try to fit it in and use your own intuition to see how the messages apply for you. Take what works for you and let the rest go. All right, my dear Scorpio, let's see what's going on for you the month of October 2019. All right, so here we are, the Four of Swords as your current energy. Now let's see what is challenging for you. The Hermit in your challenge position. Okay, we have the Empress as your focus. See what's the advice for my dear Scorpio, October 2019. Okay, something flipped here. Where are you? I hope you're well, Scorpio, and you had a nice Virgo season. Now, where are you? I'm sure oh, there you are. Your advice is Three of Swords. Interesting. Where is this taking you? The Magician. All right. Bottom of the deck, underlying energy is the Two of Pentacles. So this is the theme of your reading, pretty much. The Two of Pentacles. And I think it has to do a lot with balancing out and juggling things in your life, like physical things. Like activities, multitasking, things like that, in order to keep yourself functioning, if that makes sense. And you see, like this person here is with his back and this very agitated sea. And the water in tarot signifies emotions. Well, it signifies emotion pretty much everywhere, but let's talk about tarot now. And see, like this person's emotions seem to be somewhere in the background and pretty agitated. So I think that you've been juggling your daily life. You've been struggling to keep yourself functional, but you have some background, like some emotions in your background that need attention at some point. And let's see how that's gonna play out. All right, I'm gonna pull out the clarifiers already so we can go more in depth. But for your current energy, you have the Four of Swords, and that literally means give your mind a break. Okay, let's just take them out one by one. So current energy, you have the Six of Pentacles with the Four of Swords. Your challenge, you have the Eight of Pentacles with the Hermit. You have the Page of Cups with the Empress as your focus. You have the Five of Pentacles with the Three of Swords as advice. And you have the Star with the Magician for your future energy, where this is taking you. And bottom of the deck, we have Temperance. Love this. So we have Temperance with the... Sorry about this shadow thing. A little bit poetic if you think about it. All right, never mind. So you have the Two of Pentacles with the Temperance, and the Temperance has to do a lot with balancing out as well. Like this person here is this person is an angel. I'm sorry. This angel here is pouring water from one cup to another, trying to find out the right amount. It's almost like, you see it has this I don't even know what you call this that doctors used to have on the heads. So it symbolizes that you can do this more like a scientist, like balancing out your emotion and be curious about it. Like, how does this work? Okay, I feel a little bit through this. What does this taste like? How can I change my actions based on this? Oh, it's overwhelming. I need to remove myself from the situation that I'm in. Okay, I can't really afford to feel all these messy emotions right now because I'm in, I don't know, public transport or at work in a meeting. So here I am, I can try to pay attention to the body or to say a mantra, say, or whatever, something that works for me in order to not get drowned into my emotions. Okay, then I dedicate some time, maybe in the evening at home, to really dive deep and do some cleansing work or some meditation or some breath work or EFT tapping or whatever tools you have at your hand in order to help you really dive into your emotions and release. So the point here is that you don't need to just juggle. Of course, this is like you've been in balance, you kept yourself in balance, but this balance isn't going to work for long. You can't be standing in one foot forever, ignoring your emotions and trying to keep busy, or having, not necessarily trying to keep busy, but having to deal with the practical situations. Of course you need to be practical in the sense that you want to be functioning, but at the same time, if we're not going to pay attention to these emotions that are really really taking a lot of like look at the movement here, like these boats here are about to, you don't even know they're gonna sink, they're not gonna sink. um with this in the background, you can't hold it for long, you can't hold it off for long. And if you hope to live like this for an extended period, a breakdown is very possible. That's why the whole need for the temperance. That's why it's this need to really, really work through it one way or another. Therapy is another possibility. Whatever works for you. If you don't have any tools, check out tools. There's a lot of like breathing practices that help people release. There are I don't know, yoga, as I said, meditation, a good cry, really just going home and allow yourself to really feel whatever it is to be felt here, and allow yourself to release it by just crying. Sometimes that can do wonders. Okay, so current energy. You have the Six of Pentacles with the Four of Swords. So, Four of Swords talks about taking a break from your mental processes. Your mind might be telling you, you gotta be like this, you gotta function, you can't allow yourself to break down. Trying to avoid this, trying to avoid that, trying to avoid to feel really. But I guess that you're in that point where you realize that doesn't work anymore and you need that break. It's like a short retreat. It's not like the hangman where it's a long wait for something to happen and that whole waiting for enlightenment from. No, this is more like a breather. You need that break. You need to rest. You need to rest your physical body as well, but rest your mind really. And this is a four. The four has to do with the spiritual realm. So you may, by giving your mind this rest, your spiritual aspect, your passion, your heart can have some space to express itself. It comes with the Six of Pentacles, which talks again about balancing. See, you even have the scale there, and here we are in the Libra season. Um, the Six of Pentacles talks about balancing out your energy, balancing out your how much are you giving and how much are you taking. Sometimes we can overgive, sometimes we can overtake, and we don't even see it, we don't really observe it, or sometimes we notice it and we feel depleted if we give too much, or we feel guilty if we take too much. And this is something that can be balanced out, that can be first of all observed, and then important would be to observe first and feel through the reasons behind it. Many times when we overgive, we wait for something in return. We hope that we're going to get love if we give a lot to these people around us, whether it's love from those particular people, whether it's self-love. Okay, I allow myself to love myself now because I'm such a generous person, or love from divinity and sympathies from a higher realm because of these acts of kindness. But you know, when we are overgiving, means that you give more than you have, really, and that's going to put you on in that space of not having anymore and feeling literally depleted and not having the energy to move on. That's not sustainable. This is not sustainable. So the point is, with the Six of Pentacles, to just look into and feel through, and yeah, see where you're at in this scenario. And in the case that you're taking too much, that can also be where, like, okay, maybe I gave so much in my life generally that now I can afford to just take. That can also be, and we can be unfair to new people in our lives without even realizing. These are just examples. It's not necessarily the case. It is, though, important for you to give all this balancing of emotions, actions, thoughts, a real look at, and find, like, observe this with curiosity. See that, like, what's your challenge right now is to literally go inside yourself and yeah, and feel, bring light into these darker corners, and do this in a methodic way. When I see these two together, I'm literally thinking of a steady practice of meditation, for example. Maybe this is challenging for you right now, or the equivalent of this. You know, dedicated time, putting the hard work, not expecting a catharsis after each and every meditation session, or after each and every therapy session, or I don't know, tarot reading or whatever. It's good to, like, it's important to keep the curiosity and the investigating mind in place. But it's important to keep this at a steady pace, not just not over analyzing, but not completely disregard each and every thing that, I don't know, like, stop observing and not seeing any of the connections or the patterns, or expecting to, okay, if I'm go diving deep down now for 1 2 days, then I don't need to do this for another month or another 2 weeks. No, this talks about, like, having to this challenge. This is what's challenging for you right now, so you gotta, it's what you're working with, really, what will help you find this space, really, once you resolve this challenge, to go within and observe. The Hermit is a very, like, silent, space. It's a character that's going into places of silence and aloneness, and he's carrying the star here, which is bringing hope and light to the darkest corners of yourself. And when that hope and light, and it's healing, the star talks a lot about healing. So when you're bringing, you take your time to give your mind a break and not overanalyze, and just feel through a little bit how you're spending your energy, and then simply putting like a little bit of steady steady practice, hard work of something, perfecting your skill, your craft. It's gonna pay off, trust me. Look, this hermit, like what's challenging for you right now is to bring this, bring yourself in this moment of spending time alone and doing this work for yourself, doing the meditation, doing the therapy, doing the whatever it is that you are using to help yourself in this case, or to hold space for yourself. It's gonna take you here if you're able to cope with this, if you allow yourself to go through there. As your focus, you have the Empress with the Page of Cups, and that always talks with the Empress especially, about feeling really grounded, feeling connected to the earth, feeling connected to your body. Indulge yourself in the sensuality of life, in a sense. This is Venus in Taurus, Venus at home in Taurus, and that talks about like really yeah, it's about that sensuality. That doesn't necessarily mean to be sexual, but it can go in that realm as well. But it's like taking your time. The Empress talks about creativity. The Empress talks about the feminine energy. So give your feminine energy space to create. Allow it to express itself. Feel connected to this feminine energy. Creating space for yourself to feel your emotion, creating space for your subconscious and unconscious mind really to make contact with you. Our unconscious is always guiding us one way or another. It's trying to express itself, and we most of the time don't listen. We are pushing things away from our conscious mind for a reason, but we can't push it away forever. We can't turn our backs to our emotions forever. It's time to being really grounded in your body, feeling from the safety of your body, from the safety of your connected breath. When you're anchoring yourself in your body and in the present moment, feeling truly present. And with love and compassion, see, you have the heart here and the Venus, and this nurturing kindness. Take care of your emotional side and allow your emotions to and your conscious to express itself. We can do all kind of embodiment workshops or work. You can do, embodiment is a really good way, like yoga. In this case, yoga, like maybe in yoga that's really breathing into poses for a longer time and really feeling into your body. That allows for release. You don't need to overdo it. You just do poses that you feel comfortable with. And see, this is your advice. Having the Three of Swords and the Five of Pentacles advice is not exactly your typical thing, but that's what you've been trying to push away. You've been pushing this away forever. I don't know for how long, but the point is that you've been juggling your entire existence, your physical existence, your life, I don't know, maybe how you show yourself at work, at home, everywhere, holding off your emotions for the very good reason of simply trying to be functional and not completely collapse. But from the safety of your body, once you do embodiment, once you bring like a steady practice, something that is really, really grounded, and not just expecting for all to go away in one session of whatever it is that you're doing. Once you're anchoring yourself in this full aware, I don't know how to even call this. I want to call it groundedness, but call it what you will. In this case, I'm sure you understand what I mean. You can allow yourself to see what your mind is making out of this whole story of what happened to you. What's your mind making out of all these emotions? Because it's usually a vicious circle. We feel a certain way because we think a certain way, and then we feel even worse about ourselves because we think about this about ourselves, and so on and so on and so on. What usually is like a little bit like the egg and the chicken, which one was first. The truth is that we experience the world really through our emotions, through our senses, through our bodily sensations, through our this is how we receive information. Then the mind starts making stories about this. This is the way the mind knows how to interpret this whatever sensations, and it starts maybe sometimes over analyzing. Okay, I feel sad. That must mean that something's wrong with me, and I need to fix it. What can I do to fix myself? And so on and so on and so on and so on. Creating this feeling that I'm somehow damaged, creating the sensations and the story that I am abandoned and left out in the cold and disconnected, and that I'm not fitting in, and there's no space for me maybe in this overcrowded world. And when I'm feeling like this, I feel in this way because of this story that I'm telling myself, that I am alone and so on. So sadness is normal. It doesn't mean necessarily anything. It's something that will come and it's something that will go, and for even what may look like the happiest people on the planet, they still can feel sad for or without reason. People that suffer from clinical depression or that had one depressive episode are much likelier to have another one and another one and another one, because our brain, you know how neurons function. Like neural pathways are created based on repetition and based on familiar pathways. So if I was very lonely and sad and feeling abandoned and feeling left out in the cold and feeling maybe heartbroken and so on, and that followed with a depressive episode. The next moment, even if I recover, the next moment I feel a bit sad, there's always that fear, and the neurons start like firing up the same path as before. As like, okay, so if I'm sad, that means that that whole story is gonna come in, whatever it is that I felt back then. But that's not necessarily the case. Usually it's not the case, but we and then we start overanalyzing and we start ignoring our emotions because we're terrified that we're going to go back into the same place. Mindfulness is really, really helping with avoiding that slippery slope, and which we are like sinking deeper and deeper into what can be depression or what we consider to be a breakdown, and so on and so on. But this coming at your advice is literally telling you that you have to give space for this. Examine your thoughts and examine how, like the Five of Pentacles usually talks also about feeling abandoned and having maybe even money problems and so on. But it also says that this is an illusion. This is just how we tell ourselves. This is the story that we tell ourselves at this point. Not saying that something terrible couldn't have happened to you. Shit happens all the time, sorry to put it this way. And to, life happens. Life happens, and life is not supposed to be a walk in the park all the time. There's no growth. There is no healing. There is no evolution if everything is happy, happy, joy, joy, stagnant energy. The only way to get out of this is by silencing the mind, feeling your emotions, feeling your body, disconnecting from the stories, or not necessarily disconnecting the stories, because it's important to see what's going on in there, what's going on in your unconscious mind, but don't believe the stories necessarily. Bring kindness, bring loving kindness and loving attention to whatever it is that you tell yourself. If you tell yourself you deserve this, that's when doubt is actually very healthy. I know that nobody deserves this. This doesn't make any sense. Why would I tell myself this? I wouldn't tell that to my best friend. I wouldn't tell that to somebody I really care and love, right? So really try to nurture yourself here. Try to connect to that aspect of yourself that needs love, kindness, attention, and healing. You don't need to beat yourself up for any of these things. You don't need to tell yourself that you are alone, because even if physically in this moment you are alone, you are loved. You are connected. We are all connected. We are interconnected with each other. And once we get rid of this illusion of separation, when we connect to the collective consciousness, to our hearts, really, and to the earth's core, which is our hearts beat together, really. We are all part of the same thing. We're in this together. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And once you realize this for good at a deep level, not just cognition, then you will understand how this is actually an illusion. Because you start feeling connected, you start feeling loved, you start feeling compassion for yourself and for all the people that have suffered in the way that you did. You can practice compassion meditation. It's called Tonglen, where when you breathe in the suffering that you feel for yourself. And then as you breathe out, like you breathe it straight into your heart center. And when you breathe out, you breathe the antidote for that. So, for example, I breathe in for all the people, for myself that I feel heartbroken. So I breathe this into my heart center, and then I allow my heart to transform that energy. So when I breathe out, like breathing in, I say, for my sadness, for my heartbreak. When I breathe out connectedness and love, for example. And then once you do this a few times for yourself, you can connect yourself with all the people that feel the way you feel, because you realize that you are not alone. You're never really alone. There's so many people feeling exactly the way you're feeling. So we can breathe in for all the people that feel the way you feel in this very moment. Say, I breathe in for all the people that feel abandoned. And I breathe out connection, love, compassion. You can practice that for a few minutes, or for as long as it works for you. And if tears come to you, allow yourself to cry. If you realize that you need help, then reach out for help. Like if you need something more, like a deeper, say, a professional help, or a friend, But first you gotta be honest with yourself and allow yourself to go where you need to go. It's a hell of a advice, Scorpio. And you know, Scorpio, you're a very powerful person. You're like one of the most powerful and deepest of all signs. So you do take things quite deeply and quite intensely. And I understand the need and the wish to not feel in this sense, and to completely disconnect, and to keep busy or keep juggling what you're juggling, only to not feel what's there to be felt. But you know as well as I do that that's not sustainable and it's not going to work forever. And if you do this, if you're allowing yourself to feel through and to release these thoughts, to debunk the stories that you're telling yourself, you're going into the Magician and the Star, which are fantastic energies. The Magician's tell it's like a blank state, a new painting. You start painting a new painting, a new story, and it's a healing story with the Star here, feeling connected, feeling guided by the universe, the water bearer, you know, like again, you know, having people or angels or whatever pouring water from places to places. A lot of water in these cards. Here, 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 here. Anyhow, it's a healing story. It's a really, really beautiful story. So it takes you where you need to be. With this, the Magician is the archetype that is like really the manifestor, the creator. He can take whatever, like he makes use of all the energies here. He has all the suits on the table, and he's connected to the earth, and he's connected to the universe, and he has the knowledge of how to manipulate them, but not manipulate them in a sense of like control freak, but in order to literally get in sync with the natural laws of the universe and work with that. And the Temperance is the alchemist. So you have the alchemist and the Magician here in your reading, which is really, really beautiful. I'm gonna pull out the Rumi Oracle card for you to close down this beautiful reading. Oh gosh. So Scorpio, please, please, please treat yourself for this. Like it may, don't do anything that you're not able to or not comfortable with, but do find ways, whatever ways you can, that work for you to address the pain and the suffering that you're feeling, or you're trying so hard to not be feeling. But you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is not something that's very subtle. It's down there, and it's you're aware of it. I don't need to convince you that there's something lying beyond. And here you go. What a beautiful card. Your message is to arise. Arise, my dear Scorpio. It's the number 13. No, sorry, I'm getting excited when I see how well connected these cards are. You know, how much emphasis is on balancing out what needs to be balanced, and how to go within yourself and discover that love and compassion, and feel through and arise. Okay, so it says, this is the poem from Rumi that is associated to this card. Wings of hope languish from lack of use. When wings dissipate and weaken, life begins to lose its value. Every cell in your body is created to rise to challenges. Your life is meant to confront everything that holds you captive. Don't sit at the bottom of the well, not caring about salvation. Listen to the voice within calling to you. Reach for eminence beyond your own maturity. That was exactly what I was saying, my darlings. Where is it? Like, every cell in your body is created to rise to challenges. Exactly. It's not supposed to be a bed of roses. Okay, I'm just going to read a little bit before we close this. It's a very long read, so I'm trying to select a little bit like the few paragraphs that actually might make more sense to you right now. I just saw this one. It says, the stars do appear to shine brighter at night, beloved, but don't become consumed by your nightmares. They will pass with the coming dawn, you'll see. Don't give them too much stock. Instead, put your attention towards that defiant candle of hope that burns as its nature and purpose within you. Can you sense its warmth even in the presence of cold fear? Ah, it shall warm you now. And if not, then I come to remind you, you're a blazing angel. You're filled with holy fire. This is the fire sign here on the heart. You're filled with holy fire and you shall prevail. Okay, so this oracle comes with a message for you. Arise. You have been downtrodden for long enough now. Perhaps you have been feeling defeated. Look at this. Perhaps you have been feeling defeated, put upon, underestimated, or walked over in mind, in body, or in spirit by others or your own doubts and fears. Enough now. You are liberated through the hope in your heart, the defiant optimism that buoys your spirit and demands that you shall have your dawn. You shall rise like the sun and begin anew now. Step up. It is your time. It is beautiful. And you can definitely do it, Scorpio. Do not believe otherwise. I know you may feel a bit discouraged right now because of all this pain that you're facing but you're not alone. You have tools at your hand. You have so much love available to you. I wish you all the best, and I wish you to really listen to this advice of arising. This is not really advice, this is more describing what's really happening actually. You will arise, that's for sure. You'll come out the other way, and there's hope. There's so much hope in there. You can feel it once you allow yourself to feel. All right, my darlings, have a beautiful, beautiful October, and I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you here soon.